The Morgan family estate looked exactly the same as it had for 100 years. 12 acres of perfect gardens, a huge Georgian mansion that had been shown in famous magazines. I drove up in my simple gray Volvo and parked beside a row of luxury cars. Each car screamed old money and family pride passed down, not earned. Marcus's shiny Porsche was parked in Grandma's usual spot. That small detail alone would have made her furious. But Grandma Elena was gone now. She had passed away 2 weeks ago, and today's family meeting was about what she left behind. Or at least, that's what my stepfamily thought. As I stepped out of the car, Mr. George, the elderly groundskeeper, gave me a small nod and a warm smile. We had spent many afternoons tending Grandma's rose garden together, while Marcus and Victoria, my step-siblings, sat by the pool complaining about how boring summers at Grandma's house were. I was out in the dirt, helping plant flowers and trim hedges. The heavy oak door opened before I could knock. Hannah, the housekeeper, who'd been working there since before I was born, gave me a tight hug. "You're right on time," she whispered. "They're all in the library, already arguing like vultures." I could hear the noise even from the hallway. Their voices were raised and sharp. My dad had married Patricia when I was 10. She came with 2 children, Marcus and Victoria, and from the moment Dad passed away 5 years later, they slowly pushed me out of the family. Patricia smiled at everyone while making sure I was left out of everything. Everyone except Grandma Elena. She never fell for it. "I should get the summer house," I heard Victoria say loudly. "I spent every holiday with Grandma." Only because she got banned from Monaco after a credit card scandal. I remembered Grandma's face that day, completely unimpressed. Marcus chimed in next. "Forget the house. The stock portfolio is the real treasure, and I'm the only one with an MBA." I had to stop myself from laughing out loud. That so-called MBA was bought from a fake university online after he failed out of 3 real ones. Still, he always introduced himself as a financial expert. I stepped into the doorway of the library. The room was filled with dark leather furniture, family portraits, and the smell of old books. Patricia sat in Grandma's favorite chair like she already owned it. Victoria was lying on the couch, scrolling on her phone while arguing. Marcus paced by the fireplace, scuffing the antique rug with his expensive shoes. Mr. Sullivan, Grandma's longtime lawyer, sat quietly at her desk. He had called me the night before and said, "You'll want to be there for this, Elizabeth." Elena made sure of it. As I entered the room, the air changed. "What is she doing here?" Victoria didn't even look up. Patricia smiled sweetly. "Fake as always, darling. This meeting is really just for family." "I am family," I said calmly. "Grandma Elena was my grandmother." "Yes, but..." Patricia waved her hand as if brushing me off. Marcus walked up, blocking my view of Mr. Sullivan. "You're not really a Morgan. You're just the stepdaughter. This is for real family only." He was over 6 feet tall, trying to look intimidating. I'm 5'4", but I didn't flinch. "We don't want to waste your time. I'm sure you have some little apartment to get back to." He was talking about the apartment he assumed I lived in. What he didn't know was that I owned a penthouse in one of the city's most expensive buildings. They all thought I was a struggling teacher. None of them knew I had built a successful tech company or that I had been working closely with Grandma Elena for the past 6 months. "Actually," I began, but Marcus grabbed the library doors. "This is family business. Go grade some papers or whatever it is you do." He slammed the doors in my face. I sighed and smoothed the fabric of my simple black dress, Chanel. Not that they'd know. I sat by the window in the hallway and looked outside at the rose garden, the same place Grandma and I had spent so many hours together. I remembered last spring when she pulled me aside with a twinkle in her eye. "They think I'm losing my mind," she whispered over her tea. "Let them think that. We're going to show them what a real Morgan woman can do." I glanced at my watch. The Morgan family crest on the gold face glinted in the sunlight. It had been a gift from Grandma the day I graduated with my MBA from Stanford. She had come to the ceremony in person. Marcus didn't. He was recovering from another wild party. Victoria was busy shopping in Paris. My phone buzzed. A message from my CFO. "Morgan estate transfer complete. All paperwork filed." I smiled and leaned back. Inside the library, I could hear Marcus beginning some speech about modernizing the estate. Victoria was arguing about her emotional connection to the summer house. Patricia was likely trying to sound graceful and wise. Then suddenly, it went quiet. Mr. Sullivan must have opened the envelope. The yelling started almost immediately. She lied again. This can't be legal. 6 months ago, she sold everything 6 months ago. The library doors flew open. Marcus stormed out, holding a document in shaking hands, his face red with anger. This is impossible, Grandma would never. He froze when he saw me still sitting there calmly. Hello, Marcus, I said, ready to discuss the new rental terms for your wing of the house. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't just owning the estate, it's making them realize that you own them. Inside the library, chaos reigned. Victoria was pacing in circles. Patricia sat frozen. Marcus looked like he might pass out. Mr. Sullivan, Marcus shouted, this is a mistake. Grandma wasn't in her right mind. She couldn't have done this. Mr. Sullivan replied calmly, Mrs. Morgan had a full psychological exam before the sale. Just for this reason, she was of sound mind and very clear about her choices. I walked back in and sat at Grandma's desk. Her leather chair still smelled like her perfume. 6 months ago, Victoria whispered, that was when we thought she was confused about her meds. When you were all busy thinking about what you'd get from her, I said, she was busy planning what she'd leave behind. Patricia finally spoke, her voice trembling. But, the money, the estate sold for millions, surely she didn't just give it away. Mr. Sullivan answered, she sold it for $27 million. Every cent went into Morgan Innovations, her granddaughter's company. Silence. Marcus turned to me, stunned. You're, what? I opened my laptop and showed them the homepage of Morgan Innovations. It showed the company's current valuation, over $3 billion. We focus on AI security systems and clean energy tech, I said. Grandma believed in it. She was our biggest investor and a proud board member. But you're just a teacher, Victoria shrieked. I teach one class at MIT, I corrected. The rest of my time is spent running this company, the one that now owns this estate, the summer house, and most of the Morgan family's assets. Patricia stood, her voice shaking. This isn't possible, you must have tricked her. Mr. Sullivan pulled out a tablet. Actually, she left a message for all of you. He pressed play. Grandma Elena's face filled the screen, strong and calm as ever. If you're watching this, I'm gone, and you're probably trying to contest my last decision, she said with a sharp smile, the one that always made people nervous. Grandma Elena's face appeared on the screen, calm and firm. She gave a smile, one that had once sent chills through the wealthy social circles of the city. It was the same smile that reminded everyone who really held the power in the Morgan family. To my step-grandchildren, Marcus and Victoria, she began, you never truly understood what the Morgan name meant. You believed it was all about money, status, and appearances. You spent years pretending to care about me, when in reality, you were just waiting to inherit my fortune. Victoria's lips trembled. She glanced at Marcus, whose eyes darted to Patricia. No one spoke. Grandma turned her attention to Patricia. You married my son for his name and stayed for my money. Don't waste your breath denying it. I've known the truth ever since you tried to access my bank accounts during his funeral. Patricia's shoulders slumped. Her skin went pale. She sank back into the chair, suddenly quiet. But Elizabeth, Grandma's voice softened now. Elizabeth understood. She saw what the Morgan name was truly about, not just wealth, but hard work, vision, and building something real, while the rest of you were relaxing by my pool, dreaming of what you'd do with my money after I died. She was quietly building an empire of her own, just like I did 60 years ago, when people said women couldn't run a business. I remembered the night in Grandma's study when she saw the code I was working on. She didn't just glance at it, she studied it, understood its potential, and looked at me with real pride. That night, she didn't just see a granddaughter, she saw someone like herself. So yes, Grandma continued, I sold her everything. I didn't give it to her as a gift, because Elizabeth knows that true worth comes from what you earn, not what you're handed. She bought the estate, the business rights, everything, with her own money, money she earned, all while you were laughing at her so-called little teaching job. The video ended. Silence filled the library. The only sound was the old grandfather clock ticking slowly behind us. Each second felt like it chipped away at their sense of power. I broke the silence by pulling out a stack of folders and placing them on the desk. Let's talk about your living arrangements. Marcus's voice cracked. Our what? Your rental agreements, I said. I don't plan to kick you out right away. But I do need everyone living here to sign proper contracts. Market rate rent, nothing special. Victoria turned pale. But I don't even have a job. I nodded. I know. Luckily, Morgan Innovations is hiring. Your resume is light, but I'm sure we can place you in an entry-level position, somewhere you can learn real skills. Marcus straightened up and tried to act strong. This is our home. I looked at him. No, this was Grandma's home, which she sold to me. You don't own it just because you feel entitled to it. I opened another folder and flipped a page. Now, about that MBA you say you have. Marcus's face lost all color. Fraud is an ugly word, I continued, but I like to think of this as a learning opportunity. You can either sign a rental agreement and take a job in our compliance department, or you can try explaining your fake diploma to your firm's board. Patricia stood suddenly. She smoothed her dress and forced a smile. Elizabeth, surely we can discuss this as a family. I looked at her. Family? Like when you canceled my college fund after my dad died? Or when you spread lies about my mental health to keep me out of your social circles? Is that the family you mean? She quietly sat back down. Mr. Sullivan, I said to the lawyer, please hand them the rental agreements. They have until Friday to sign, or move out. Victoria started crying. Not her usual fake sobs, but real tears. Marcus looked like he couldn't breathe. Patricia just sat frozen, likely wondering how many of her society friends would hear about this. Oh, one last thing, I said, picking up Grandma's favorite pen. The staff, Hannah, George, all of them, they're staying. They're getting raises, full benefits, and respect. They've always been more like family than any of you. I looked through the window and saw George tending to the rose garden, the one he and I had planted with Grandma. Hannah came in with a tray of tea, set with Grandma's best china. Your usual Earl Grey, Miss Elizabeth? She asked gently. Yes, thank you, Hannah. I sat back in the chair, my chair now, in the library that had always felt more like home to me than any other room in this house. We have some long overdue changes to make. Because the best revenge isn't just reclaiming what was taken, it's building something better, stronger, and more lasting than they ever imagined.